let's just start this off. We're back again.
Yeah, we're back. I'm Julia.
I'm Sydney, and this is the Finding Balance Within podcast. And I'm impressed with us because it's only been like 2 weeks since we recorded our last episode.
Look at us go.
We're pretty much killing it. This is probably going to be the final episode before my birth.
Look at that belly.
Yeah. I'm going to be 37 weeks in 2 days, so I doubt that we make it for another video before. But if we do, let's make it pregnancy related.
I have lots of questions to ask. I'm not a mom yet, so I'd like to ask all the questions.
Yeah. Also, I was just looking back, and last time you were wearing a green shirt that kind of matched the background, and now I'm in the green shirt.
You are
so
matching the background.
We like green.
Yes, hunter green. I like hunter green.
Yeah, it just feels like so earthy. Mm-hmm. But we're gonna try not to ramble too much this episode because we are on a time crunch.
Yes. But today we're gonna talk about releasing expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure most people can relate to that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Whether it's with yourself, friendships, relationships,
just life in general.
Yeah, life in general.
And obviously it's going to relate to my pregnancy and motherhood journey.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It's one of those things, though, I feel like I subconsciously have expectations that I don't even realize I have.
Yeah.
And then when they're not met, or they don't respond the way I expect them to, or I want them to, like you said, it builds resentment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to be able to have that self-awareness to be like, whoa, like, they're not a mind reader, that's not fair, like, give them grace, like, and I'm struggling with that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's not something that you're aware of, so it takes you a while to realize that, oh shit, am I the problem? First of all.
Hey, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
It's like when it's expectations for just your life in general, you don't realize your expectations can be like self-sabotaging because they mess with your mindset and your image of yourself, and how your life's supposed to go. And then when it comes to your relationships, you don't realize you're sabotaging that in a way too by having, and not that you have too high of a standards, but when you expect something to go a certain way and you're also dealing with another person in that relationship, they don't think exactly the way that you do. So they're not going to do things how you want it to be to the T. And that's something you've got to learn to
I think once you
accept.
Release the expectations and the control and let them show up, whether it is a partnership, in a relationship, friendship, even yourself, like releasing control of the expectations and the outcome and just letting people show up as who they are, like authentically. Yeah. That is like a game changer, because then I'm sure you'll talk about like how you had released expectations with Dylan and then he kind of started showing you things, but you don't get that until you release those expectations.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like in life, and when we say releasing expectations, we don't mean like
it doesn't mean don't have standards for yourself. Like it's not like, oh, I'll just accept whatever. Like, no, like you need to have standards. You need to, obviously, like, this is just speaking like relationship wise. Obviously you need to, have things that you won't settle for, and that's okay. Like, every one of that you're listening is going to be different, and that's fine. But it's the fact that little nitpicky things, like, let that shit go.
Right. Yeah, so it's like allowing yourself to still have like goals and stuff. Or I actually listened to this other podcast. Her name's Katarina, and it's like called the podcast Nobody's Doing It Right. And she talks about setting intentions over expectations. That way, you're still like, you have a path that you're wanting to go, but when you're so tied to the outcome of something, it limits the way that can progress and the joy you feel or the happiness you feel at how that outcome is. Whereas when you leave room for the ending of it to come out different ways, you don't have to be only happy with one certain outcome of it.
Well, I mean, most of the time anyways, it doesn't work the way you want it to work.
Right.
So then if you are tied to that expectation of it has to go this way and it doesn't go this way, is life just over? It's almost setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah. And then it's like you said, operating authentically, because if you're so tied to a certain outcome, then you might not be as authentic because you're trying to get a certain outcome. So you're going to go the path that leads you there, not what feels the best always
Yeah,
at the same time.
definitely. Yeah.
Oh.
So she put some stuff on her phone. She did a little brainstorming before the podcast, so you might look back and forth and refer to that. But
Yeah.
it's all really good stuff.
Really focusing on the like for yourself in life. Can you think of anything that like having certain expectations has led you?
I shouldn't say hate, but I strongly dislike that I'm this way because if it was anybody else, even logically, I understand like trying anything new for the first time or even like a first few times, like you cannot expect yourself to be good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are, that's wonderful. But for the most part, majority of people are gonna usually suck at something when they started out, like whether it's a sport or painting or you know what I mean, like anything. Like if it's foreign to you, it's not going to be organic. It's gonna be a little awkward and cringy. Like, but I am so bad at not having having expectations that I cannot have fun with doing anything new.
Yeah.
Like
the first thing that comes to mind, volleyball.
Yes, like I want to just be fun and silly and goofy and just like play loose. But I'm like, no, people are watching me. I
Yeah.
have to do good.
For
And
those
then
that
guess
don't
what?
know,
I fuck up.
we play on a rec volleyball league.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not
rec, damn it.
professionals
It's just-
by any means.
It's just rec.
Yeah.
So it's like you're literally pathetic.
No, but I was the same way for so long. Like you're just so hard on yourself, and I think it kind of leads into the story of perfectionism too.
Oh
is
yeah,
you
I
want to
have
show
that
up
for sure. And I know that I can be better. So giving yourself that grace, like to okay, you know you can be better, and you know you could have probably played better, but you didn't. That's okay. Let that shit go. Try to do better next time or next game. I like get in my head and I'm like, I effed that up, screwed that up, missed that point, like, and then it's like a downward spiral.
Yeah, it turns in that self-sabotaging because
And like you can like
then you're beating up on
Tyler
yourself.
can watch me, like he's like he watches me and he's like, it's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening right now.
Yeah.
Like you've seen
And you
it
can't
too.
stop it.
You're
It's
like,
just
get out of your
spirals.
head. Like I don't know how. Like that's the biggest thing I'm working on right now is getting out of my own head.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest things, one, I did see that in volleyball for a long time. And then I just like started showing up as I am. Like, why am I'm paying to be here. So I should just have fun with it.
Like no one like at the end of the day, like it's not so much. Yes, I do worry like, oh, someone's gonna watch me and they'll be like, this chick's a dumbass.
Yeah.
But it's not like that's only like 20% of like what's in my head. Like the 80% is like me beating myself up.
Yeah.
And then like putting so much pressure, get this serve over, and then guess what? I didn't get it over because
Right.
I'm putting so much pressure on it that it's the opposite outcome that I want. Instead of going in with an intention of have fun.
Yeah.
If you fuck up,
Yeah.
learn from it.
Hang out with your friends
Hang out
and
with
have
your
a good time.
hang out with your closest friends and do something on a Friday night. Like
Yeah, and get some exercise in while you're having fun.
Exactly. And I think I am like starting to transition to that mindset, which has been great, but I can tell like that's why I've like shied away from like the paint classes and stuff like that. Like I don't feel creative, so I want to try to start doing stuff to spark my creativity, but I can art like part of me is like, will I even enjoy this because I'm going to like try to paint like Bob Ross and it's not even going to
Yeah.
look like that? Like will I be able to separate my expectations and just have fun and show up and have fun and let it be
fun
what
with
it
the
is.
process.
Yes.
Yeah. That's funny because that was going to be my next point is I'm pretty big into crafting and painting and stuff, and like that's a big hobby of mine. Like I used to do that like every weekend night. Like Dylan would be playing video games, I would set up in his room while he was gaming and paint or do something. But I reached a point of like perfectionism or expectation for myself as to what that should look like or turn out to be, that it's turned into like a
Not enjoyable anymore.
yeah, like I haven't touched, like besides for stuff for my baby shower or stuff like that, like I have not just for fun done a craft or a painting and
We should do that together then
who knows
because
how long.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so you know it's gonna be better than mine. It'll make you feel better.
Whatever. So yeah, that was definitely another area of life that I see that in, which I really want to get back to.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we do like a girls' night or something and do that.
That'd be good.
And then fitness in general. So like my fitness journey, obviously rocky as all of ours is usually, because you have like this certain outcome you're trying to reach, when you have a body type that you want to reach,
Yeah.
or a certain weight, or a certain like PR that you want to hit. And it's like getting to that again. It's nice to have the challenge of something, but when you're so obsessed of getting to a point, you can't enjoy the process, especially when it takes longer than it should, or
Yeah.
what you expected the timeline to be for it. And so I feel like the time that I was finally able to get in the best shape of my life and really fall into like the health and wellness and just enjoying it was when I stopped focusing on the outcome and just enjoying taking care of my body, enjoying the process of challenging myself and taking care of my body. Like,
Well, and I also think I feel like we touched on this in another episode, but
oh, for sure.
I feel like you sometimes make more progress
Yeah.
when you are like, I'm only going to the gym because I want a better butt. I'm only going because I want to lose the bat wings. I want, blah 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 blah. It's like if you just go to show up for yourself because you know it's good for your mental health, it's good for your physical health, and you release those expectations of I'm trying to get this workout done so I can look like this. If you do that for like a month or two, like just going and showing up for yourself, like trying to crowd out everything else, I guarantee you will make more progress in those 2 months than you would if you were beating yourself up because you're trying to look like this Instagram model.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so in the world we live in right now with Instagram just at our fingertips and Facebook, it's so hard to not compare and be like, oh well, she has like a body type I want. I should do everything she's doing, and
Right.
that's just like natural, like what our minds go to,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I've
tough, and it really makes you be too hard on yourself,
I
which is
think
never going to get you anywhere.
exactly, and I think that's why I really like winter, so I can dress like Adam Sandler and like cover myself.
Yeah, I love
Because
big oversized sweaters.
yeah, just when I'm at the gym specifically, it's like I don't want to have to always look in the mirror and be like, oh, I see this, and like I'm critiquing myself instead of covering it up and just knowing I'm working out, I'm taking care of my body. When I do reveal myself, like I know that I'm doing the things I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
definitely. All right. Now let's going to talk about in relationships, because I feel like this is a big one, because it's not just you and your way of thinking. You have to consider a whole other person and how they're thinking about things. So something I kind of put down, obviously, you need to have expectations for your partner and your relationship. This doesn't mean to allow yourself to be treated like crappily, or not let your needs get met, or that type of stuff. Like, it's more about how things get done, or how specifically you think they should respond in situations, or
I'm like, stop, you're calling me out.
no, I'm guilty of the same thing though,
I
so
know.
I'm calling myself out too. But when you become tied to they should be doing things the way that you would be doing things, you're always going to be disappointed.
I set my partner up for failure like all the time, and I'm so much more aware of that than I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So like instead of reacting the way he responds, like I'm in my head and I'm like, Julia, why did you do that? Like
Yeah.
you're literally trying to make him fail. Like you're creating an argument and resentment out of for no reason. Like
Mm-hmm.
I will ask him something and I will be like, I hope he responds this way. I want him to respond this way.
Yeah.
Like I'm literally setting him up for failure. And it's almost like probably like a defense mechanism in some weird
Probably.
fucking roundabout way.
Yeah.
But it needs to stop. Like,
Yeah.
because that does no good.
Mm-mm.
And then if I say like, well, I wanted you should have said this. He's like, what the fuck? Then he feels like he can't do anything right.
Right.
And it's like, if roles were reversed, I would probably feel that way too. And then I'd probably get defensive because I'd be like, what can I do right for you?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
there's a middle ground somewhere, but yeah,
We're still trying to find it.
we're lost.
Yeah.
We're trying to
Send
find
help.
Yeah, SOS.
No. I'd say the biggest thing in my relationship was like not specifically how he would respond in situations. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was times that I was disappointed in his response in situations, but I feel like mine was more like the things he was doing or not doing. So like did he do the dishes today? Did he do the laundry? Like, why didn't he think to help me out? Because, like, that's something that's at the top of my mind. So why isn't it at the top of your mind? Or,
Yeah, it's important to me. Why isn't it important to you?
yeah. Or when I ask you to do something and you don't do it within a certain time period, like, again, that's a time period that I put in my head. If I didn't say, hey, can you have these done by tonight? If I just said, hey, can you get these done? Then to him, that may mean tonight, the next day, like
Right.
sometime this week. But if I'm not saying that I need it done within a certain timeline, I can't be upset with him for taking his time to do it, or, not jumping at the hat. And that was something that, as I started to, well, one, it built a like resentment because, I felt like he wasn't hearing me, even though he was, and he would get it done. It was just more on his timeline. And then I'm sure he felt that on his side, like, well, gosh dang it, I can't do anything right.
Right.
So it's like, it's building resentment on both sides because he's not good enough. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he's not good enough because
You're
I'm
not doing the shit that I want you to do when I
right.
want you to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I think, we talked about that. And I told you, I was like, I'm really trying to like surrender and like let that go. And then it just like, it's like he could feel the tension release. And it's like,
It wasn't
things,
a, yeah. I remember her
I noticed it
specifically
more.
telling me that. She was like, I think you snapped me. You were like, dude, he did the laundry, or he had already had the laundry folded or something like that. I just remember
Yeah,
it.
and I hadn't even asked him. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, because I had made it my, like, mission almost to ask him to do stuff instead of letting him take the initiative. That when I surrendered and kind of let him take that, I was, like, happily surprised.
I also like, I am old school when it comes to like, for the most part, like, I'm not a feminist. I'll just be
Oh, for
honest.
sure.
I want to fucking stay home and bake
Yeah.
bread and raise babies, okay? But like, I still think, like, in my head, I'm like, the man should take the trash out. But I also like, if it's full, I'm not gonna be like, Tyler, like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the damn trash out. Like, but I do think I don't think it should be 50-50 all the time, but I
Mm-hmm.
also think like a man should be able to help. Like, just because in the old days like the wife did the laundry, like a man should still be able to help out and do the laundry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't be, well, this is your job. Like, I
Yeah.
don't,
It's not always
it's not
one
always
partner's
one partner,
role.
because sometimes there's going to be times where like we're, slacking or whatever and we need help, and that's totally fine. But don't even remember where I was going with this, so that's cool.
Well, I was
I
also
was
thinking,
really on a path and it's a squirrel.
I was also thinking how, yes, it shouldn't be like a gender role, one person cleaning, one person doing the maintenance, that type of stuff. But also sometimes it does kind of work like that because of your genders. So I'm more apt to think about the laundry and dishes because that's how my female brain functions.
Yeah.
He's more apt to think about the maintenance that needs done on the house, the cars,
Yeah.
like that type of stuff.
He like, and I think I was getting, because I was assuming like, or expecting, how are you not walking by the laundry? Like, he'll switch the laundry, and I don't even ask anymore. Like, if he comes home from work or comes home from the gym and he sees that, like, oh, the washer hasn't been switched to the dryer, like, he will do that for me. And
Yeah.
that's leaps and bounds of progress, because he used to just walk by it and not even think about it.
Yeah.
And I'd ask him, I'm like, why are you like walking by and not even seeing it? Or like, you don't even see that this whole hamper is full. Like, why wouldn't you just put it in there and start a load for me? Like, that
Mm-hmm.
will help tremendously.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's
But
just like not conscious.
I was taking it as like, you don't care about me. You want me to be your slave. Like, this is not a partnership. This is a, and like, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm your mother. Like, it built up so much resentment to
Mm-hmm.
where it was like really affecting our relationship. And it's like, I had to like step back and be like, he's not even thinking about it like that. Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't make effort if
Right.
he has.
Yeah.
But
After
it's
you
like,
spoke up about it.
yeah,
and,
like, but giving grace to being like, he doesn't think about that. He doesn't walk by and see like a whole bunch of dirty dishes in the sink and think that has to get done right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's not bothering to him. But to me, and like my OCD is like, I want a clean sink before I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I can get that tomorrow. I'm like, no, it's got to get done tonight.
Yeah.
And then I'll start doing it, and then he's like, he'll come in the kitchen and be like, I was gonna do it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I've realized too, like, I can't get mad at him if I'm choosing to do it. If he said he's gonna do it, but I'm choosing to do it because it's my own OCD or whatever. I can't just like
Yeah.
let
Or it
it
wasn't
be.
the timeline that you
Yes.
needed or
I've
wanted.
I have let go of that, of like me being bitchy towards him. Like I'll be
Yeah.
like, "No, babe, it's fine. I got it." Like, and I think he can kind of he's probably like, "Is this a trap? Like, do I go back sit on the couch
Right.
because you're doing it, or do I say like, no, stop?" Like,
Yeah.
and I just told him, I'm like, "No, I got it. Like, it's just me and the way my brain works. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not comfortably able to like watch TV and a movie while I know that the kitchen is dirty."
Yeah. And you've got to make sure though that when you decide, you know what, I can actually do that myself, that you're not sitting there resentfully and doing that
Yeah.
task. Like it has, if you say no, it's okay, I can do it. That it can't
Like
be
that
like
has to
a
be the end of it. You can't be like, I'm always fucking
yeah,
doing these dishes, you
exactly
know. And
because
I have done that multiple
yeah,
times
mhm,
until I finally realized I was like, this is not fair. Like this isn't serving him. This isn't serving me.
mm-mm,
He said he would do it, but I'm the one that has a problem with waiting, and that's okay.
right,
But I'm choosing to do it. So if you're gonna choose to do it and take that load off of him, put your big girl pants on and just
yeah,
get
you
over it
can't
and
carry
do it.
that
You can't,
resentment with
yeah, you
you,
cannot carry that because that is going to just lead your relationship into the ground.
right, yeah. Oh man, I just had a thought that I wanted to take that somewhere, and I
I'm so glad it's not just me.
no. Well, I've got pregnancy brain at least, so I can blame that.
Maybe I'm pregnant. Just kidding.
Stop.
Stop.
um.
That was funny. I had a little girl today. She was probably like 7. She was talking to her mom. I was cleaning her teeth, and she was like, "Wait, I forgot what I was gonna say." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I do that too."
All the
Yeah.
time.
The little 7-year-old was like, "What?"
Actually, I know what it was. So I had watched another video that kind of talked about like um your partner and like your roles and that type of stuff. And I really liked the example that she put together that was like it was again kind of talking about expectations, but she was like, you know, we've got friends coming over, and I'm thinking, how do I get the inside of the house ready? Okay, I'm gonna clean, do the dishes, sweep the floor, that type of stuff. She's like, and my husband's nowhere to be found. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I go to the garage, and he's purge cleaning the garage because that's what's top of his mind is what does this look like? What does our lawn look like? Like he's
Yes.
thinking about other areas. It doesn't mean that he's not still considering and thinking about how you want the house cleaned up, but he's thinking about different areas. Like our brains just work differently.
And that's very true, and it is. And like, instead of being resentful about it, try to like respect and appreciate that
Yeah.
you guys are different. Like, there might be some people on here that are saying women can do everything a man can do, but if that's your like,
You do you.
yeah,
Prerogative?
prerogative.
Is that
I was about to say provocative, and I was like, that's not the right word. But you do you, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to feel how they feel, but I don't feel that way, and I feel like Zinni doesn't feel that way too.
No.
And there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
The fact that a man is a man and can do different things, and a woman can do amazing, beautiful things and birth a fucking child into this world. Like, I'm sorry to ruffle some feathers, but a man can't do that.
No.
So,
No. They
I'm
still have an important role in birth because you definitely need that support, but it's a different type of role. Like it's
yeah,
again.
but I mean, that's a whole other topic. But what I was getting at is, instead of like, why don't you think about this the way I do, or blah blah blah, like, appreciate the fact that they're different than you. That's why you probably fell in love with them,
yeah.
in a relationship wise. But at the same time too, like, I think this is the same thing with my mom and dad relationship. Like, my mom was the best stay-at-home housewife. My dad went to work, provided in that sense, and she was the one that did everything. Like, I think when you're a stay-at-home mom, I think your role as like doing household stuff is a little bit more than
Mm-hmm.
like split, because
Well, and especially because you're around it 24/7.
yeah, so like I think that's a little bit different, but either way, whatever, everyone's family dynamic works differently. But um she, like, my dad's mom did everything for him. Like, whether she had a like, not a nanny, like a babysitter and stuff like that, like, but she cooked all the food, she always did the laundry, like, she took care of him in that sense. My
Mm-hmm.
mom took care of my dad in that sense. Tyler's mom took care of him in that sense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously he's older than me and stuff, and he's had to do stuff on his own, but for the most part, like, he didn't have to think about doing laundry like I did at a younger age. He didn't
Yeah.
have to think about doing those things. Like, it's innate in me to like go to a house and like try to help out and pick up and help with dishes and laundry. Like, that doesn't bother me. Like, he just doesn't think about that
Right.
stuff. So I also have had to like try to accept that too, of like, he's not doing it to be a dick, he's not doing it to be selfish or not helpful. He just doesn't think about it.
Yeah.
And that's hard to grasp because I'm like, how do you not think about it?
Mm-hmm. I know.
But I also
Like,
think it's one because I'm a woman, like female, and then two because that was how I was raised. Like, I did that. The woman did that. My mom did that for me for a very long time, but then I had to start doing it for myself.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, part of me is like, I want to take care of you, but I also don't want to be your mom. But it's like a housewife. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a balance, but you also like, I don't know. He's helping tremendously now that we're on the same schedule, which helps so much. And I think that was a huge reason too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, second shift and third shift, those are hard on your body and your brain. Like, your circadian rhythm is so fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, he would come home and he would like watch TV for like 30 minutes to wind down, shower, and go to bed. And then he'd wake up, go to the gym, and leave. Like, he didn't really have time to think about the dishes and the laundry and stuff like that. Like, he was just on this like
autopilot really.
schedule. But in my mind, I was at home doing everything by myself. So I was like, do you not care that I have all this stuff by myself?
Yeah.
And that was a narrative I was telling myself. So then I was getting resentful. And that wasn't even in his head. Like, he was just like, I'm sorry, I'm just and I'm like, you're right. Like, once you get out of your head and realize the narrative that you're telling you is usually not the accurate part, then you end up growing.
Yeah. Also, how boring would it be to be
The same
married to yourself or dating yourself, or like, you think you want, I feel like a lot of people think they want someone who thinks exactly like them. But how dull would that be, and how much would that stunt your growth? Like, I want a partner that challenges me to think about things differently or gives me a different perspective. Like, it may not always be a perspective I agree with, but it's better than just
agreeing and being like,
mind-numbingly agreement on everything.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and I've thought about that too, and I'm like, I am such, like, Tyler is not very emotional. You know, he's more emotionally shut off than I am. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I were to, I don't think that I would want to even be with a man that's super emotional.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Because I'd be like, oh my God, grow the fuck up. Like, man up, you know?
There can't be two of us
like,
here.
Yeah, like, this is too much. This is way too much. So,
yeah,
you're right. It's having a different perspective shift of, like, you're different for a reason. You came together for a reason. How about, like, try to find the beauty in their complex mind or simplex mind, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I feel like our minds are very complex, but at the same time, our partners do bring out different sides, you know?
Well, and even like with us, like, I feel like we think a lot alike in a lot of ways, which is really nice, but I still feel like both of us bring a different perspective at times. Like, when we vent to each other about things, you're like, oh, I didn't think about it like that.
That's
or,
so true in friendships. My mind's been on like relationships, but it's still a relationship, but that's the same same thing.
Yep. Well, the last thing I wanted to touch on is pregnancy and motherhood. Really, birth and motherhood, about expectations. Because I feel like this is where I have to really focus on having intentions on what I want my birth to be like. Obviously, I want a natural birth. You know, if I can do unmedicated, that's the goal. I want to. What?
I just.
Are you nervous for me?
No, I think it's freaking awesome. I had a patient today that had 3 at-home births, and I was like, I had her give me the doula and midwife's number because I was like, I want some info.
Yeah.
But I'm just laughing at myself because she told me like a month ago that she was going to try to birth at home.
No,
labor at home.
There we go. That's the different definition.
And I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. Like, just you and Dylan? Do you have like a midwife or like a doula? And she's like, no, just me and Dylan. And I'm like, so is he gonna like catch the fucking baby?
Yeah.
Like what? And she's like, wait, no, like just like
Labor, not
labor.
birth.
Yeah, so that just shows that I don't know a lot of the terminology yet.
But I didn't know the difference before I was
Like it makes,
wanting
now
to
that I
have a
know it,
kid.
it's like duh. Like how did I not think about that? Like I
Yeah.
watched my future sister-in-law literally give birth. Like,
Yeah.
but I was just thinking like, no, you're gonna be at home because like you're so natural minded. You want to do this shit.
Mhm.
Like screw the doctors. You're doing this shit at home, like on this bed.
Oh
Like
god. Oh no. Not my bed.
birth vlog coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, probably not. Who knows what I'll be like. But really, my intention is to not have medication and to let labor or birth happen as naturally as possible. So if I can avoid Pitocin and being induced or having my water broken, that's definitely the goal. But I've heard a lot about when women tie themselves so much to this is what my birth is going to look like. It has to be like this. Things happen.
Yeah.
Like she could flip and be breech and I have to have a C-section or
Well, at the end of the day, too, like you've never experienced birth. You don't know what that pain is going to be like. Like you of
yeah,
all people know that it's yes, it's a mental thing. Like it really comes down to a
yeah.
mental thing, and that's why you've been doing like all your hypno stuff. But at the end of the day, like that's what Karina said. Like she really wanted to do a like natural birth,
Yeah,
but it was just too much. Or there's other complications that happen. Like
right. Or you're 36 hours in and you're like
I can't effing do
my
this. I'm tapped out.
yeah, yeah, and if you're 36 hours in and you're literally tapped out, it's going to be hard for your body to relax to let yourself finish fully dilating. So again, I've told people, yeah, my goal is to go unmedicated. But if I'm 36 hours in, I may feel a little differently about that. Or if my labor's not progressing or the baby's heart rate's dropping and we got to, get me in a more relaxed state to take care of the baby, then that's something I have to be okay with. And I think people's birth experience really impacts how their postpartum is. You don't realize how what happens during birth can affect you afterwards. And I've heard how negative birth experiences can lead to that postpartum depression or anxiety and that type of stuff. So that's why I'm really trying to go into it open minded. That way, afterwards I'm not oh, I
Well,
feel
I'm
like,
just glad you're going in open minded. Like, yes, you have a goal, you have intention
yeah,
over expectation, but you are also surrendering to if this happens, then this happens. Like, I'm
yeah,
not going to feel any less about myself if I have to get an epidural or if I have to have a C section. Like, you know how you want it to go,
mm-hmm,
but you're also like giving it to the universe, like it's gonna happen how it's supposed to
yeah.
happen.
Because at the end of the day, I just want a healthy baby in my arms. And
Yeah.
that's really all that matters. And then same thing with motherhood. I mean, I have no idea what that's gonna look like. Obviously, I'm doing all this planning of getting the house ready, and I had some friends ask me about visitors and stuff, and I'm like, honestly, I have no idea what that's gonna look like because I don't know what I'm gonna feel
Yeah, I
like
mean,
during that
exactly. Like
time.
that's such uncharted territory, so it's hard
Yeah,
to
I don't want to
answer that.
commit to anything prior because I may come home and be absolutely stir crazy and hey, come over,
Or
two
I don't
days
want you
on.
near my baby and me at all, you
Yeah.
know?
Or it may be 3 weeks that I'm a hermit and I want to see no one during that time.
Yeah, and
You
that's
just,
totally fine.
yeah. And it's allowing yourself that space and not setting the expectation with other people ahead of time or with yourself ahead of time. It just leaves room for it to play out as it should and naturally instead of fighting for a certain outcome.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
think also like I have so much expectations over everything that it's like I try to control the situation.
oh,
Like
yeah.
that is why I've turned into a control freak. And
Yeah.
it's like, hey, you can do this. But you could also do this, this, and this, and that. It's like, why don't you just allow the person that's a grown ass adult to decide what they want to do? Like,
Hmm.
it's just, it shows up in my life so many different ways. And it's like, it's very apparent to me that I've got to like cut ties with that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not
stop
serving you.
control. Yeah, it's not serving me at all. Like, it's actually put in a direction I don't want to be in. So it's just very apparent to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just don't beat yourself up over it. It's a safety mechanism that
Yeah.
you have kind of put in place because it helps you from by setting expectations, it helps you from being disappointed with certain things or protect you from being hurt in different ways. But it's in the long run, it's not serving you, and it's just hindering your
Oh, I
progress
mean,
in
even
life,
with one of
relationships.
my I hate to admit this, but like one of my family members that got sick, like I was so scared to have full faith. This is kind of different, obviously, but full faith and like there's a miracle that's gonna happen. I mean, because they were absolutely dying. Like it wasn't, but it was my grandpa. But it was like, have faith, blah 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 blah. He's a Christian man. Like what this wouldn't shouldn't be happening to him. Blah 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 blah. Miracles gonna happen every day. I was like 40% feeling that way. The
Mm-hmm.
other like 60, I was like, if I full blown go that way and he dies, I'm gonna be so let down. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be so hurt. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because, and it's like, that's not how, like, just everything's gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
The more you hold on to it and grab onto things, like, you're going to lose shit.
Yeah.
It's never gonna happen the way you want it to happen.
Yeah. And I think that's why some people like lean into like some people I don't know how I'm trying to say this. I didn't grow up very religious. And it's something I'm trying to learn. Like I did buy a Bible. I'm
Awesome.
gonna read it and like I wanna know more. But I think, faith helps a lot of people in that sense because
It's like something to rely on.
yeah,
Like
they
God.
let go and let God,
Yeah, yeah.
essentially. So
I need
like
that tattooed on my damn forehead.
literally. But I think that's something that serves people in religion so well because they let go and they
It's
like
such a like
trust.
I think I'm like I teeter that line a lot because there's certain things and I'll be like, yeah, God's got this, and other things where I'm like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
you sure about this?
Right.
But I think that my mom pointed that out to me. She was like, you need to, like, if you're stressed out about something, you need to give it to God. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're still stressed out about it, it's not that you can't think about it, you can't wonder about it or whatever, keep talking to God about it, but you should try to release the stress from it. Like,
Yeah.
it should actually be a weight off your shoulders knowing that you gave it to God.
Right.
And whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah. And also, if you don't believe in God, like trust in the universe, or like
Yeah,
it
I mean,
doesn't
like,
have to be something specific that
most
you believe in.
people I feel like that I've talked to, even if they're not godly or into religion, like,
Yeah.
they typically have like a higher power of some sort.
Yes.
So, and if you don't, that's fine too. But like, usually most people have a higher power. So it's
Yeah.
what the people I've heard of or whatever is like the universe. And
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes like associate with that too, but
Yeah. I feel like I kind of teeter between the two, honestly.
it's like one and the same to me. Like the universe
Yeah.
is God.
Yeah.
It's
No,
just like
absolutely.
different lingo to me sometimes, which
Right.
I don't know. But
Yeah, and I feel like some people who are like really big into like certain religions would disagree with that, but
oh yeah,
I think there can be a looser concept and it's still serving both of us well. Like, like just having something else to believe in and to trust in, that it's not always all on you.
and it's like shouldn't ever be on you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know how to give it to God, and I've like cried to God before because I'm like, I want to be faithful to you. I
Mhm.
want to like trust you. I don't want you to like not show up in my life because you can see that I'm not trusting you.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like I don't want to self sabotage my life and your relationship with me because I don't know how to let go.
Right.
So that's something
Yeah.
I'm working on too. But I want to get more into the Bible and scripture and just I don't know. Like
Yeah. I
if
just want
I'm feeling anxious, go to these verses.
Mhm.
I want to get. I used to be like that, and I just really got out of that. So
Yeah. No. Well, I think we should wrap it up here.
yeah,
I
we
feel
should wrap
like
it up.
we've said about all we can say on the topic. I mean, we could ramble on, but
You know us. We like
then
to
we tend to go
ramble.
off topic a
Yeah,
little bit more. But I think this was a good episode.
yeah.
I'm
Hopefully it's
excited.
relatable. I'm sure it is for most people,
Yeah.
man or female.
Yeah, and maybe you're not aware of it and something for you to think about, a little food for thought for you.
Yep.
Something to journal about. And just take notice of it. Like if you don't think that you're that way, if you don't think that you're always having high expectations, just take notice and your life and your relationships, and look to where you feel disappointed and see if it's because you had certain expectations of outcomes, and try to let them go a little bit.
I will say one really positive note. I did get my Christmas tree out, okay? And I love
Yes.
Christmas light. Like, it just makes me feel like a little kid again. It makes me feel cozy, and like I just love that stuff.
Yeah.
So, like Tyler's like, turn the tree off when you go to bed, and I'm like, no, dude, because who wakes up first? Me. Who's gonna plug the tree? Like, I need it on when I wake up.
Yeah, why turn it off? I mean,
come on, dude. So, anyways, I obviously leave it on, and I think when I go to work though, like Tyler gets home before me, so when I go to work, I do unplug it.
Mhm.
And I told him, he was like, "Why don't you unplug that?" And I was like, "Well, I want it on when I get home." And then instead of like me saying like I want you to turn it on or anything like that, like I just said that, and I didn't even really think I want him to turn it on when I get home. Like I unplugged it, like he said, and then when I came home the next day, or that day or whatever, it was plugged in.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh shit!"
And it was a nice surprise.
It
because
was,
you didn't have the expectation
because at
that
first I
he
was
better
like,
plug it in before I get home.
yeah, I was like, did I fucking leave that plugged in?
Right.
But then I was like, no, what? I unplugged that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, I love that. But yes, I can't wait to decorate for Christmas.
Yeah,
Also,
for sure.
I'm doing that like this weekend, because
He was like, it's not even Thanksgiving, and I was like, oh, who are you talking to?
literally, and also I'm gonna have a baby before Christmas, so I'm running out of time. Before Christmas, I
Oh
will have
my
a
gosh,
child.
that's so crazy.
Yeah, I know, dude. It could be before
I don't know why
Thanksgiving for all
I'm
we
a knee
know.
slapper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's so exciting.
yeah. So I'm gonna decorate these next couple days because I'm running out of time, and it's gonna be so cozy.
I know it's
and
gonna be so. You're gonna have the Christmas lights. You're gonna have a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
You're gonna be able to watch Christmas movies
I
with your
know.
little baby girl.
Yeah. But all right, let's end it here
Okay,
because we
sorry.
keep rambling.
Damn it.
But
Sorry.
bye, guys. Hope you have a good one.
Comment, like, share with anyone
Yes.
that you think will resonate with this. That would be greatly
Yes.
appreciated. I think we're up to like 47 subscribers.
48. I
Woo,
checked today.
48. So thank you to all of you. We still don't know how to check who you even are, but
No.
we appreciate when you comment and
like the video.
So thank
share
you
it
for
with
that.
someone you think that might like it also. And if you have any other ideas, because
Yeah, we're always open to new ideas, and
yep,
we do like when you comment, we can engage with you. So
yep,
keep that up.
all right, bye.